Yo guys. It is Old Man G here, RDS here, back again for another late stream. So we're here to talk about the Agoumé deal news, Manchester United's ongoing search for a midfielder, as well as the latest updates regarding Garnacho, Sancho, etc. But before we get into it, guys, if you are new to the channel, to like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter, United X, and smash that. Sorry, Red Devil Studio. I keep using my old Twitter handle but Twitter did away with that, unfortunately. Red Devil Studio X. We're on Twitter and Twitch as well. Links in the description. Also, second channel, Red Devil Multiverse is out. A few videos coming on that this coming week as well. So yeah, a lot of stuff coming out as well. A lot of news. Obviously, the transfer window is closing soon. End of August is basically when. It's not long now. And we got to sign a midfielder, and after yesterday, we got to sign a goalkeeper. Now I appreciate all that. I'll be just a big up Atoma as well. Yeah, hit the like button, please, and for everyone, big up Atoma, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Road to 5K exactly, and follow me into as well. Appreciate it. Thank you, Lynn, Chi. Appreciate you, and Rob. Thank you for tuning in as well, buddy. Thank you as supporters, man. So, I mean, before I get into the Agoumé deal news, obviously, still disappointed as a United fan with what the events of Arsenal. Yes, I was happy that we performed better last season. This against Arsenal, it was a much better performance, and I'm happy with that. But fundamentally, we did still lose the game at home. We still didn't score a goal, and we still did have a goalkeeping mess up, and that's too familiar to the events that happened last season. So next week against Fulham, for me, is going to be a very big test, because if we are now losing to Fulham, then I think there's problems. There's got to be problems for the season. It will be Fulham's first home game, so obviously they're going to be stoked for as well. We need to get a result. Because if we can get a result against Fulham away, I'm also to think, okay, top 5, top 6 is possible if we're putting away strong mid-table teams like Fulham with the style that we're playing, and we can score goals. All right. The worry for me will be not being able to score goals and not being able to, and having the, because rumors are saying that Onana's going back in goal. Honestly speaking, guys, I would probably put in Tom Heaton. I'm not going to lie. I'd actually put in Tom Heaton in goal, to basically to give us some more oomph. That is what I would do anyway, personally for me. But that's just my experience. So it's without further ado that we actually go on to a midfielder. I know this broke a few hours ago, but I've only literally been able to get to it. I want to give my 2 cents. Breaking, obviously, Indicali, who has been, I don't rate this guy, but only because Ornstein gave him a shout out, and in fairness, he's been pretty good at the Liverpool Isak news, and a few different things. And Belieber news as well, for example. So he's been pretty good at that. So I'm going to give him, at least for this window, a big up S&B, man. I'm going to give him, I'm going to acknowledge him for this transfer window anyway. And he's saying that reports are breaking that United are to bid 22 million for Lucien Agoumé. So now, so far, we've yet to see a bid. So let's see what happens to that effect. But it's clear to me that Manchester United, now I think this is obviously tied to what we're going to talk about Garnacho later, which is United are really holding out for a 50 million bid for Garnacho. I think if somehow United and Chelsea agree 40-50 million for Garnacho, then you might be thinking about maybe United being able to go in and bid for this guy, because there are goalkeepers there, the midfielders there. If that for the money that we can, if we can make a sale. I think Ruben Amorim's basically been told, if you want a midfielder and a goalkeeper, you have to make a sale. That's basically what what's happening now. I agree actually with SSB. I'll come to the concept. Manchester United shouldn't sign for the sake of signing. It didn't work before with Chelsea and clubs. Wait to see the guy. Wait to get the guy you want or don't get. And I agree. And I agree with that 100%. I agree with that 100%. But what I would say though is that you should also have targets. You're never always going to get your 100% target. So what is your second and third choice? I find it very strange that the only target United had in the midfield position was Belieber. That's it. You didn't have a second or third choice. Like the striker situation, I get. You wanted Delap, you didn't get it. You wanted Gyökeres, you didn't get it. And so you go down for your third choice, you know, with Sesko, who's okay. Because the striker market is quite competitive, so that's a bit difficult. But I would have thought that United would have had at least multiple options for the midfield. Like you don't go in a transfer window and say, right, I only have 2 or 3 targets. You know, it's a bit strange, person. It's a bit strange. A bit. Rob said the Arsenal game there was improvements, but it did show we need that midfield and goalkeeper. Time is ticking. We have to exactly. Like I said, I liked Kounde and Mbeumo, I think, had good debuts, and I think the key was that this was against. My hope is that they played well, at least in my opinion, against what was strong opposition. Arsenal are strong opposition, and without that goalkeeping error, I don't think they would have got anything from the game. So, if they can play like that against strong opposition, so against Arsenal, against Liverpool, against City, and so on, you know, especially because Arsenal have such a strong defense, they're always going to be difficult to score against. That's what Arteta's made. I mean, that last 45 minutes, it just felt like Arsenal were parking the bus, quite frankly. But they got the win. So if we can basically play like that, but against mid-table to low-table teams, you're doing that against, do that against your Sunderland, against your Leeds, against your Burnley, against your Evertons, and so on. Get those points to the bank, and then try and do that against your mid-table teams like Crystal Palace and Fulham, and then maybe we can get somewhere. But top 5, top 6 has to be the goal. Tag to us, big up artist, big up man, bro. If you wanted to come on the show, by the way, give me a DM. It'd be good to catch up again. So I've subscribed to Tag as well. So if you're happy for me to come on as well, I'm trying to get back into my collab mode situation, but it's difficult. I am quite busy doctoring and stuff like that. So but yeah, I'm open. When I'm watching, I'm open for collaborations. I am. It's just fitting the time and all that. So just get her into not a young player. So let me just. I mean, I'll be honest. I had no idea. I don't know who Lucien. I've not watched. I watch a bit of La Liga from time to time, but I had no idea on the football profile of Lucien Agoumé. So a bit of a Google and a video search. I uncovered a few things just for you guys. So let's see. So a little bit about him. So he began his youth career at Clemenceau, Besançon, and Racing Besançon before joining Shojux in 2014. These are French teams. He then went to Inter Milan in July 2019, and Inter acquired him for about €4 million. But with limited opportunity to Inter, he was loaned to Spezia, 12 league appearances for them, Brest 27 league caps, and then Troyes in 2022, 15 league matches as well. He then went on loan to Sevilla in 2024. Sevilla signed him permanently in summer 2024 on a 4-year contract until 2024 for approximately €5 million. And in that 24-25 season, so last season, he featured in 35 league games, netting 1 goal and played 30 matches across all competitions. So right off the bat, without even knowing this guy, clearly this guy's fit. Clearly this guy is at least fit. He's at least a guy who will be able to be fit and to be able to, and hopefully he's not injury prone of that sort. Like he's gonna help us. That's basically from a fitness point of view, So so that's useful. What else? He represents France at youth level. Obviously, he's a DM. That's what we want to know. That is his primary position. He's a DM. So, it's interesting. He is also capable in central attack midfield roles, showcasing versatility. I do think that we need a versatile DM. I think that Agate had a stinker against Arsenal, not going to lie. Is Agate versatile? I don't think so. Can he go up and attack? Yes. Kobe, well, the words that come up for Kobe is that he struggles defensively, which I think is why Agate came on. And he's not going to drop Bruno. And Collier is going. So you basically have Casemiro, Agate, or whoever. And I don't think I think Casemiro is going to go. He's going to go, end of this season or next. I can't remember. Collier is going on loan. Agate will do his thing, but I don't really think that Amram rates Agate. I just don't get the impression that he rates Agate at all. Key attributes: good passing, vision and ball control, defensive intelligence, can anticipate interception and positioning. For Brest, he averaged about 5.7 tackles, interceptions per game. He is tall at 1.86 meters, technically gifted midfielder. On Reddit, fans hide his ability to sit deep, break attacks, launch long balls, while noting he's still well promising with potential comparisons to N'Golo Kante. Interesting. He's only 23 years old. 20. When I'm seeing players born in the 21st, it makes me so old. Like, geez. So yeah. Fancy levels on 21 captain, seems rising start into some Premier League sides. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Rob says, Aguamo is 6'2". He's a big dude, but would you take him, G? He comes into the thing is, he comes into the category of potential, I think. And I think the question is, do United need another potential signing? That's the key, because we already have Kone, for example, who was brought in to potentially as a youth academy product, and others. So is it really wise for us to go with potential in this position? Now, I appreciate Belieber, but I think the difference in Belieber is Belieber has played in the Premier League. This will be either his second or third season, I think 2.5 season for Brighton. So I'm always skeptical of players who and especially players from, because he's in Spain. I mean, it can still work, but you could see, for example, with Cunha and Mbeumo, the Premier League proven attributes that come. I think it's Ten Hag's transfer window so burned me, with the exception of maybe De Ligt and Martinez, and obviously Euro, that I'm very much into, like, okay, if we have a critical area, we really need to have like Premier League proven first. You know what I mean? So De Ligt was a bit different because De Ligt has, he played for Ajax, he played for Juve, he played for Bayern, so he plays at different. So it's a bit for players that have not played for big club size level. I appreciate Sevilla is a medium-sized club. It's a little bit tricky. I would argue it's a little bit tricky for me. Now, at the same time, you're saying, right, bid 22 million for him. So the alternative here is that you are now in a situation where you go, well, if he's available for 22 million, 25 million, and we don't have any other midfield alternatives, like as I said earlier, United do not have any midfielders. There's no he is like second choice, there's a third choice. You're going down your midfielders, and this is the guy. Then you got to go for him. You got to go for him then, because I don't think you can go into the season without another midfielder and potentially a goalkeeper. Bayindir really didn't like. even in my, I was thinking, okay, maybe we can do well with a goalkeeper, and like you do that how, and it's like, like you'd want to at least be like, right, okay, hopefully we don't rely on, and you have that goalkeeper mistake, and it's just like, right, okay, so now we actually need to go and get a goalkeeper now. We actually need to go and get a goalkeeper now because we can't we're conceding stupid goals. So essentially, in summary, what I'm saying is, yes, if he's only going to be 22 million, no, if it's going to be a larger amount than that. Because you're going to let Collier go. Casemiro is not going to get as many minutes. Now, obviously, you've got Mainu. I think Mainu, the way I see Mainu right now is Mainu is either going to replace Bruno or be one of the number 10s, which is difficult because you have Mbeumo, you have Cunha, you have Mason Mount, you have Xerxes potentially, so where do you fit Mainu in? Mainu comes off as I feel bad for Mainu. I generally don't know where Mainu fits here because he's not going to be the DM. He's not defensively disciplined yet. And I don't think that's his strength anyway. Bruno isn't going to be dropped. So really, Mainu comes on for Bruno, I think. And or he plays in the 10. And unfortunately, I don't think, because remember, Mainu's contract expires, I think it's this season or next. And he's not signed a new contract. So, in fact, let me just double check that quickly. I think, when does Mainu's contract expire? It might be the end of the season, Mainu contract expiry. Yeah, 2027. Okay, fine. So that will be yes. This is 2026. So not necessarily for the following season, but there are a lot of United players that are going to be going to last year of their contract soon. I think Casemiro's contract expires. Casemiro's expires this season. So he's gone at the end of the season. He's just run his contract down. And Sancho's contract also expires. And so we are, and I'll talk about Sancho in a second, we are going to be losing some high paid earners in Sancho and in Casemiro at the end of the season, which will help balance the squad financially. But, we'll see what happens. So look. Off topic, but what is Article 7? I've got no idea. Article 17. I've got no idea. I'm going to ask ChatGPT. That's such a question. What is Article 7? Article 17, sorry. Let's have a look. What is chat? Article 17 usually refers to FIFA's Article 17 regulation on the status of transfer players. It is one of the most important and controversial rules in world football because it governs what happens if a player unilaterally breaches, terminates a contract without just cause. So, and it goes on to, it gives a few points like protection of contracts of players and clubs expected to honor contracts. Breaching a contract without valid cause can trigger penalties. If a player leaves a club unilaterally without just causes. So here you go. If a player leaves, I assume this is in relation to Isak, which is coming out. If a player leaves a club unilaterally without just cause, the club is entitled to financial compensation. Compensation is calculated looking at the player's salary, transfer fee previously paid, player's age, status, time of the contract, and so on. Players can face a 4 to 6 month ban from going to matches if they breach in the protected period. So there's a protected period, usually for the first 3 years of a contract if signed before age 28, or 2 years if signed at 21. If the breach happens during the protected period, the consequences are much harsher. Okay, interesting. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. That's so yeah, interesting. But I suspect Newcastle will not want to bring that. The Newcastle are going to sell him. Newcastle are going to sell him. They will. They'll sell him. They'll sell him. For me, I would say we need 2 goalkeepers, both 1-2, not great. Owen Tom Heaton, I will start with him like next game. Yeah. I mean, I don't think we're going to be able to get 2 goalkeepers. The difficulty is that it's just like, it's not just about getting players, it's about letting them go. And Onana doesn't want to go. And I don't know about Bayinde, probably doesn't want to go either. Until Heaton's just signed and he's more of a coach, So, if you bring in another goalkeeper, which is fine because you can have 4, but you certainly can't bring 2 because you need one to go. You need one to go. And as far as I can see, I just think that with the amount of time that we have left remaining, you're just not going to be able to find it. Like, it's not like they've been. This is the thing about United players. Like, I can want a lot of players to come in and lead. The problem is that people have to want the players. Like quite frankly, when you look at the players that are for sale, the only bids that have come in. Think of how bad United has run, right? The only sorry, my mic. Sorry, let's tighten this again. There we go, that's better. The only bids or interests for our players, there's been more interest on ex-players than our current players, i.e. Alanga and Alvaro. But our current players, literally the highest that we've got this summer for a player currently player for bid at Manchester United has been, and we'll go to talk about second, Chelsea valuing Garnacho 25 million. No one has put in a bid in for Onana. No one has. I mean, Sancho, there's been 20 million, 25, AS Somerson, but he's not interested. I don't think there's really been any more than 20 million for Sancho, really. Anthony, I've got no idea. That's it. No one is sort of, this is the thing. It's like no one is coming in for Manchester United players. Even players that we want to keep, no one is coming in and saying, "Oh, we're not sure about." No one is saying like, right, okay, and that's the travesty right there. Even young players like Collier, etc. It's a joke. It's a joke. Apparently, Isak and his agent are going to try to terminate his contract. I mean, how though? That's interesting. I wonder how they're going to do that. Maybe IndyCar. I should assume IndyCar's mentioned. I don't know how they're going to, because he's got 3 years left. So the only way I can see him terminating his contract is if he pays the rest of the contract, at least, because he'd have to pay the rest of his contract off from the player, and then the club would still have to agree for him. So I don't know how he's going to do that. I'm not sure how he would do that. So it's an example in practice. The famous Webster rule, 2006. Andy Webster, Hearts to Wigan, used Article 17 to terminate his contract after the protected period, paying compensation but avoiding a transfer fee. This case showed the argument gives players more freedom similar to Bosman, but for contracts that haven't yet expired. Yeah, so I don't know if he's after the protect, because I found my way. Isak still has 3 years left on his contract, and he only signed 2 seasons ago. So is he out if he's out of his protected period, he just needs to pay compensation. But if he's still in his protected period, it could be problematic. That's just my understanding of the law. Anyway, back to United. I say this because if Isak does this, we might see a player to the same AK, but well, I mean Brighton. Well, yeah. Get EPL proven. Yeah, EPL proven is the way to go right now. EPL proven is definitely the way to go. But that said, echoing what Rob said, I definitely think we need to sign a midfielder regardless. And if he is your second or third choice and he's only 25 mil, you go and get this guy. Is it a risk? Yes, 100%. It is a risk to go for this player. absolutely 100%. You know, so that's why. Belieber won't even tell. Yeah, he won't because he's got a good relationship with Brighton. He hasn't even gone straight. No. He. I think the issue with Belieber was that I think if United bid the amount that Brighton he'd have gone, but he has he's comfortable. He's got no desire to, and the reality is that I think realistically, players aren't stupid. A lot of players know where Manchester United are right now. And Manchester United is kind of the sort of you link to Manchester United to boost your player profile. So if Manchester United interested in you and you're like, oh, Manchester United interested in me, well, then that means that maybe a Liverpool or a City or Arsenal sort of, or Madrid or Barcelona or other big teams are. So let me just wait and see if all those other teams are interested. And then, United, that is just the nature of it, So, any case, he's disappointed getting. I mean, he's disappointed, but he still played for Brighton and was fine. Was fine on the weekend. So yeah, that's it. Like button, guys. It's free of charge. But I was trying to go. Yes, please do hit that like button, guys, and subscribe if you're new. Bottom right hand corner. On the road to 5K subscribers, and just continuing to plod on, as it were. So the transfer is always over. We'll be doing watch-alongs and other manner of things. So please continue to subscribing to the channel. It makes a big difference. What else you got here? The season this season needs to be Agate's last season. I mean, I don't know what's happening with Agate. I'd imagine with the Agate situation, he's it's gonna be it's I'm not gonna say it's over for Agate, but it's I don't get the impression Amram rates the guy. So and it'll be interesting to see whether he starts against Fulham. That'll be interesting. Inca said, but get likes up to 15. Yes, please do. RDS, where's your channel, man? What do you mean? What do you mean? Where's my channel? What do you mean? What's happened? Where's your channel, man? I don't know what you mean, Lucky. Where's your channel? What do you mean? I'm still here. Do you mean my second channel or Twitch or Twitter handle, or I don't know. I know what you mean, Lucky. Nice cap, yeah. I forgot. I was wearing. I always try wear my cap. But thanks for the compliment, Bob. I appreciate it. But by the way, still no sign of Tom, man. I don't know where this guy's gone. I think he just completely has left football Twitter. But I hope he's well. That's the most important thing. I'd love it if you're watching, please come back. We miss you. The community misses you. Where are we? Let me just see. So yeah, the next out. So yeah, United to get a midfielder, and it might be this guy. Stay tuned to see when this bid, the supposed bid, comes in. Let's have a look. Let me see. Oh yeah, let's get this Garnacho story, the Garnacho stuff out, because I don't really know what to really say about Garnacho, to be honest. Let's see what I'm just going to get what Fabrizio said about Garnacho, because we're coming into Fabrizio said quite a few things. Rodrigo. A penalty. Mbappe scored a penalty, and let's quickly go. Yeah, I'm indifferent to the Isak thing because it's a Newcastle Liverpool thing, so they can sort it out. The only thing I would say is that I do find it a bit funny that Liverpool fans were complaining about Trent who actually did, I'd argue it was probably more it was more the owners. And if a player, my general rule, if a player runs their contract down, then that is on the owners. I don't think that's on the player. People might say it's on the players, but like players, you've given them a contract. So yes, you can say they're not helpful or blah, 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 but at the end of the day, like they've got a contract, just like Onana, just like other players. They don't have to leave or don't want to. You sat down with the player, you gave them the contract, you said we'd pay you this, and the player is honoring the terms of that contract. You now deciding, oh well, can we go? Can you get sold also? And the player's like, well, no, that's it. Just like if a club decides to sell a player and they've got a big enough offer and it serves the requirements, and they say to the player, look, you're not going to be playing, not going to be a team, then the player's got to adapt that way, So I don't know. Let's have a look. Comments. Yes, Tom come back, please. I'm gonna quickly see what Andy Callier said as well. I don't know what else Andy Callier said. But comment to Sancho as well. We'll talk briefly about Hojlund and Sancho as well. RDS, what are your thoughts on Sancho's dream? Does he even want to play football? We're going to talk. Garnacho and Sancho are going to be in the same kind of bracket, to be honest, because they're both, for me, in the same situation. Big up, Tapsman, long-time supporter. Thank you so much. Yeah, football fans are always hypocrites on so many matters. And hit the nail on the head. I don't understand why people get mad at the players. You've got to blame the clubs. Yeah, exactly. Like for me, the Isak situation is worse, in my opinion, because he still has 3 years left in his contract. Like, I just think of it as like, like any work. I'm a doctor. I have a contract with the hospitals that I work. I have to give a certain period of time. If I'm going to resign, I've got to give a certain period of time before I move and leave, etc., and go and so forth. But the difference is that the hospital didn't pay me like 170 million pounds or whatever it is, whatever fee to secure me. So when you're Isak, it's like, right, they paid money for you, they need your services, you got onto contract. So if they're saying you can't go for a certain fee, to be honest, what I think has happened, simply put, is that they probably said, yeah, you know what, you can go, but Newcastle assumed they would be able to easily find a replacement. They tried to go for Etike went to Liverpool. They tried to go for Sesko went to United. If any of those players went to Newcastle, I genuinely think Newcastle would have sold Isak no problem. They would have. Unfortunately, they didn't. And so Newcastle and Bayern, it's like, so Isak can say what he wants and, he's entitled to. But I also understand the club being like, well, okay, but like we have like a week and a bit to sign a player and we haven't been able to find a replacement despite it. So, and you have 3 years left. You are a striker. You say the relationship is broken down. I don't know. I think that's more you. I don't know. I just think it's. I'm not so much where it was with Trent. He just ran his contract down. Like his contract was over, and then he went to Madrid. That's it. Like that's on the owners and the club to renew it. If they don't, it is what it is. But if you're under contract, you're under contract. If a club dishes out bad contract or a club can't get rid of its contract, that's on the club. Exactly. Napoli have joined the race along AC Milan into Milan. Rasmus Hojlund, we'll talk about that. Sancho is wild for reject Roma. Gasperini could help his career if he bucks his head down. He could, but he's not going to, because again, he wants someone down his contract, and he's got reason to, because ultimately He's on 250k to 300k a week because that's the contract United gave him. That's on us. Like people, like I see United fans, they're angry. Like, oh, Sancho, Garnacho. Like at the end of the day, the contracts were given by the club. That's why, at least in fairness, Ineos, they're trying to bring players on contracts that are reasonable and not overpaying, because this is what happens. You know, because if Sancho was on 150 a week when he came in, and maybe to 200, he probably would have taken the move to Chelsea. But he's like, no, hang on a minute. Why are they not? Why would I take a move to Chelsea and get 100 or 200k pay cut? It makes no sense. That's it, unfortunately. Man City are looking great, G. Even Forest cooking. If we don't get a midfielder, it could definitely be a very long season. It could definitely be a long season. It could definitely be a long season. Let me just quickly see if that's why if we lose to Fulham at the weekend, Amorim is already in trouble, because our first 10 games are difficult. Like in our first 10 games, we played Arsenal, lost already. We're playing Chelsea. We're playing Spurs. We're playing Manchester City. We've got Brighton, I think, as well. We've got Forest as well. Obviously playing Fulham away. These are tough games. So for me, these first 10 games are going to be indicative of Man Manchester. And even the other teams come out. Sunderland have come up smashing good, etc. So if we don't, the way I see it is that if we don't get, I'd say we need to, if we don't get at least, I would say somewhere between 15 to 20 points from our first 10 games, that's just 30 points, Amorim is in trouble. Because our Christmas actually is looking not too bad. Our Christmas is fine. But if he gets less than 15 points, he's going to be in big trouble. He's going to be in big trouble. Exclusive, big shock at awards night, British transfer record. News broke. Big news broke out at the PFC World Cup, which took place at night. According to sources of the event, Man Utd's income dropped. You could feel the energy shit in them. There was this collective, as players check their phones, and honestly, the looks on their face are price, especially from Liverpool players. It's like Micro has been given the green light by for go to a British transfer record once Newcastle give the nod. Liverpool, Newcastle for sure. Set to me tomorrow mornings. Yeah. So basically, going to British track record. Bruno Hunters. Okay. Yeah. So basically, like I said, I knew they're going to get him, and I suspect they're going to sell him for like 150 mil or something like that. Lucky said Bayern, Jacobs Bonn for Garnacho, but player rejected. I think it was. I don't think it was Bayern Munich. I think it was Bayer Leverkusen, was why they used Bayern. Still on Isak. Anything else? Just Isak stuff. Okay, I can't no care about Isak now. Let's quickly go to Garnacho. I'm going to adjust this poll for a second. Let's see what you guys have said. Will United sign a midfielder? 77% of you say yes, and then 23% of you say no. Okay. Let me adjust this poll for a second. And I'll just ask a simple question. Should Garnacho be sold for less than 30 million? Because that's what Chelsea want to give. And I'll put it out here. What do you think? As you can see in the story, Fabrizio, Chelsea runs in club-to-club talks with Andrew Garnacho. Deal on with United. Sure. Excellent relationship between United Borough and Chelsea. Garnacho wants Chelsea and turned down approach from Bayern in the last 40 hours. Is this Bayern Munich or Bayern? Because if he turned down Bayern, I've got no idea how he turned down Bayern Munich. I've got no idea. But I think Fabrizio said it. Or was it Ben Jacobs? Let me have a look. But yeah, the gist of it is that Chelsea, it might have been Ben Jacobs. Let's have a look. He said that Newcastle will change by Alexander Isak's statement. So, right, Newcastle are going to respond. I don't think this is a good look for them. Anyway, let's have a look. Where is the Sancho thing. Come on, where is it? Sorry, guys. There we go. This is it. Yeah, Alejandro turn on approach from Bayern today. Man Utd insisting on 50 million, citing Nori Madueke's Forte plus 4 million move to Arsenal as valuation yardstick. Exactly. Chelsea still trying for less, knowing United want to sell. And that's the key here. That's the key here. I couldn't see it on it. Unless Fabrizio's posted something else now. Has he posted something else just now? What has he done? This is why, in fairness, this is why I like these transfer new streams, because it is literally just interactive and live and stuff. Oh no, he's not posted anything live. I'll just refresh one more time. I don't think Fabrizio said, no, he's not. So yeah. So, and I agree with Manchester United. I agree with Manchester United. I think the 50 million or nothing. I would accept 40 million if you put in 44 million, if you put in a sell-on clause, because we can potentially recuperate that money later. He gets resold, sell on. So I could accept 40 with a sell-on clause, because then you could potentially recuperate, like with Alanga, and he was academy. We sold him for 30 million, didn't he, to Forest, and then he got sold to Newcastle for 50, 60 million, I think. And we put a sell-on clause now. We got money from that. So the total amount we got from Alanga is probably closer to 40, 45 mil. So you do that for Garnacho, fine. But 30, not even 30, 25 mil. And they're doing it. They're doing it because they know that we need to sell. But I think United basically need to be a situation and go, okay, fine, Garnacho, that's okay. Because he's obviously thinking like, yeah, I'm going to pressure. Like, well, okay, fine, do that. But and for me, I think what's weird, I think especially this year, is that for Sancho and for get those likes up, for Sancho and for Garnacho, this is the World Cup year. That for me is the and this is like, I mean, I know Garnacho probably has enough, but Sancho's 25. Like, the World Cup is going to be in 4 years' time. So next to me might when you're 29. Like, I just don't get it. For me, I don't get, even with the Isak situation, it's like if you rot in the reserves and don't play and don't pick, you're not going to get picked. You're not going to get picked. So why would you risk, unless these players, they really don't care about the country, don't care about the World Cup, especially it's going to be in America, etc. Why would you not push to either stay where you are, even just for a year, and say, look, it's a World Cup year. I'm going to get my head down, do whatever. Garnacho's a little different, because at least Garnacho and Sancho, they've been told by the club, your best not message. Isak hasn't been, but I don't know. If I'm Garnacho, you speak to Chelsea and say, Chelsea, pay what United want. Play what United want. And then there's Roberto's planning to be broken, waiting till the end of the window to submit a loan. Yeah. That's what they want. They want. I mean, I see that more likely happening. I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to be like, wait to the end, get another loan, and United will just have to cover half of his fee to bring, sort of thing like that. Like, to be honest, I think we could just be like, do one. I don't. Again, where are all the other offer bids for Anthony? For me, you do one. You do one. Sorry, you do one. Sancho, we remember as a forgotten baller. Where are they now? Like Machado, Morrison. Yeah, it's the Sancho. I mean, the reality is Sancho could have taken a wage cut and gone to Chelsea. He could have. Chelsea wanted to pay, I think, 150 a week. He said no. Why? Because he's on close to 300k a week at United. He wanted 200. Chelsea said no, 150. And he said no. That's why. So, okay, fine. Rotten reserves then. And like I said, it's a World Cup year. Maybe they don't care. I don't know. Like, Garnacho is not in the Argentine squad. Although he has, more time. But I just think it's just weird. Like, for me, if I was a professional footballer and I know it's a World Cup year, I would, unless it was really, really toxic, I would at least for that year stay. At least work something out. I don't know. But I don't know. In my opinion, on no account. And I'm looking at the poll now. 67 you say no. 6, yeah. On no account for me should Garnacho be sold for less than 30 million. Because I think that sets a precedent. Because unfortunately, the issue with Manchester United is that Manchester United need to sell. And a lot of people know about Manchester United, where they are, etc. So we're in a unique position where you can't bully Liverpool or Chelsea, other clubs. They can sell the players at Y and Z because they don't need to sell. But United do need to sell. And it's it means that no matter how small or big, whatever the clubs are, they will always take advantage of Manchester United, is what I'm trying to say. Like they will always take advantage of where we are, because we are not where we should be. We're not where we're supposed to be. That is the big issue and big problem with Manchester United right now, and it's got to change. Just let him rot in the reserves. Hopefully. Wait, what? Big up, Abdullah. Big up, Loser. Big up. Big up, Abdullah. Big up, darling. We need to do a collab soon, man. Like the Chelsea game is coming soon as well. Actually, Chelsea game is coming. I think when do United play Chelsea? It must be soon, man. The fixtures have it. I have the fixture. I think we're playing Chelsea in a 4th game. I think. Yeah. Fulham 2nd, then Burnley. Yeah, no, 5th game. Sorry. So Fulham, then Burnley at home, then City away, then Chelsea at home. I mean, Chelsea and City back. Jeez, that's going to be interesting. I mean, I'm looking at it, and the only guarantee wins I see against Grimsby. I'm hoping that we can do something. We can get something from Burnley. Who did they lost? I think to who they lose? No, they lost to we can at least beat Burnley. If we can beat Fulham, we'll beat Grimsby Town. We should beat Grimsby Town and Burnley. That will give us momentum going into the City away game. And then if we get a result there, then that will be the momentum. But if not, it could be a momentum killer. So we'll see what happens. Doing live tomorrow, drawing guys. Yeah, subscribe to Abdullah's channel. He's a Chelsea fan, but he's a friend. So, but yeah, in summary, yeah, for me, 50 million or 40 million, 50 or 40 million. No hold, no negotiations. This whole idea of like 20, nah. Then he can just run the reserve. Simple as that. I really don't care anymore. I really don't care. You can just rot in the reserves, man. Because I also think we wouldn't be in this situation if he didn't do his thing on social media. I still agree with him that actually he was wrong to bench him in that final. Garnacho and Menu helped Ruben Amorim, and the fact that the likes of Shaw, even now, where I'm seeing in the starting lineup, I'm seeing Shaw, I'm seeing Dallo, I'm seeing Mount, and just thinking, right, okay, but these guys, what exactly did these guys do to warrant the coaches. I don't know. And all I can think of is that it's just that they work hard. They work hard and listen to instructions. That's what it is. They work hard and listen to instructions. You know, whereas with at least with Cunha yesterday, I saw, okay, yeah, this guy does his, but he's also talented. Like, we need to stop having just hardworking players and actually have talented players. I think it makes a difference. If you add up all the money the club paid for all the players on big wage and send them as difficult and at a loss, not great for the club. But in the future, hopefully, well, exactly. You know, and like I said, and you hope that they play off. Like, so far from what I'm saw with Mbeumo and Cunha, I'm like, okay, looking good. You know, Sesko, we've got to wait and see. But certainly for those two, looking good. We'll see about the others. We'll just see about the others. I'll quickly. So yeah. Yeah. I mean, 60%. Should Garnacho be sold for less than 30? 40% say yes. 60% say no. Interesting. I think that I thought there'd be probably more saying no. I guess the only thing though is that, like, really, is 21 mil. Is 21 mil really is there's someone saying, I'm told offers going keen on bringing Sean Layman's in the summer. Ben Layman's in the summer. I know that's the goalkeeper that there's, but I'm not really seeing. Oh, what? Okay, yeah. So so some reports saying United might go for the United might go for the goalkeeper, Sean Layman's. But yeah, you know, where meanwhile Liverpool Chiesa is going to be staying. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I do not know. Let's quickly talk about Jaden. Let's wrap up. We're talking about Jaden. Let's talk about wrapping up Jaden. Unpopular opinion. I think Jadon Sancho had a better career at United than Jadon Sancho. Daniel James had a better a career at United than Jadon Sancho. I'll put it that way. I would argue Daniel James has had a better career so far than Jadon Sancho. You know, there's a case to be made there. Let me see if I can find the Fabrizio article where I think people were like we're cooking this fraud. Because at this point Sancho is what should the poll even be for Sancho? Let me end this one. What should be the poll for Sancho? What should happen to Sancho this season? To Sancho, because if he doesn't go, try to sell, reserves, and then loan. That's all I've got here, really. Try to sell, reserves, or loan. 26 people watching, guys. Come on, let's subscribe to the bottom I'm corner. Please. I'm going to share this tab here now because this was what came out. More on Jadon Sancho. Besiktas called 2 weeks ago to ask for deal conditions, but since then, no fresh contacts took place. Besiktas remain willing to match Manchester United asking price, but Sancho is not accepting move to Turkey now. It can be an option only later when Turkish market closing September 12, which is true because they closed, I think, 2 weeks later than this one. But Sancho would have to go. And as people said, I think he said earlier he rejected the move to Roma. You know, and to be fair, the Turkish league, you know, it's starting to ball a bit. Galatasaray making some key signings here. I don't know. It's very. I don't know what the offer would be, but I don't know. I definitely think there's no way. Well, Amorim doesn't play wingers anyway, so there's no way Sancho comes back into this team. You know, we've already bought 2 number 10s. There's no way he comes back into the team. So, you know, and this is where, like, I admire Rashford, because Rashford didn't have anything bad to say about the club, respectful, etc. This is why, you know, I never really understood fans going at Rashford, really, because for me, Rashford never said anything bad about United, about the fans, about anything like that. He was respectful. He obviously prioritized his career, so he got a move, got a loan to Villa, got a move to Barcelona on option buy to play and do his thing. You know, and credit to him, because he probably wants to play in the World Cup, because he probably wants to pursue his career. And if Rashford gets 15 goals in over on a season for 30 million, you know, that's a steal. 30, he's going to be for Barcelona. 30 million to Barcelona, and Rashford's only, I think, 27. I think now 26, 27. I think he's 27. That's a steal. You know, for someone who can potentially, you know, play up top. An old snake with Ferran Torres and Lewandowski. You know, and of course you've got you're playing under Hansi Flick, who's a very good coach, who was able to somehow get. People got to remember, Ferran Torres was garbage. Rafinha came from Leeds. This guy, Hansi, has been able to, even De Jong, he's been able to, you know, help players and do well for them, you know. So I think Rashford's in good hands, but for some reason the other players could not. They couldn't. And this is the thing. It's like, what I've noticed is that, yes, okay, there are a few exceptions, but players with bad attitudes and players who do this, they don't tend to do well. It doesn't tend to go well for them later. Even Pogba, to a certain extent, did it, and it was like, right, okay, then what happened? You know, you get humbled, because that's the nature of football, because there's always someone coming through that's going to be better than you. Especially where football is going, where, you know, I don't think these days now clubs want to pay ridiculous amounts for players unless there's a desperate need, like with the striker situation right now, because there's a dearth of strikers, which is why you're paying 80 million for a TK, you're paying 70 million for Sesko, potentially 150 million for Isak, because there's a need. When there's no need, there's plenty of wingers around, there's plenty of midfielders around, there's plenty of DMs around. You don't need to pay for them, you know. So I don't know about Sancho, really. I think it's sad, obviously, that it fell apart this way. A lot of that comes to us and also the system. With Ten Hag, obviously, the fallout there. You know, I don't know. It should have, could have, would have. I mean, a few of you say try to sell him, loan. No one wants to put him in the reserves. I mean, if he doesn't go somehow, I would put him in. Where's he going to play? where is Sancho going to play? Where would he play? Where would he play? I don't know where's he going to play? Like we have, you know, there's no way that he's going to replace Mount. Like, the only way Sancho gets into this team is obviously Mbeumo is going to be going on as AFCON. Amad is AFCON. Who else is AFCON? Onana's AFCON. Anyone else AFCON? Matswari is AFCON. So those guys are going to be going on AFCON. So the only way is if to come in is as sort of AFCON and injuries. And so that way, okay, fine. And Buemo's gone. Right, okay, so but then again, if Aguemos goes, you've got Mount can go in there, but then he could be injured. So then Bruno goes into the 10. You still got Xerxes there. You can now play Garte, etc. So I don't know. I don't know. I do know when AFCON comes, it will be interesting to see who comes into the squad. But from how things are, I just don't see any way back for Matswari. I don't see any way back for the likes of Garnacho or Sancho. Anthony, maybe, just because I could see how Anthony fit, because Anthony could potentially do, because I actually thought Anthony was a decent right wing back. So I could see how, and defensively he's a lot more astute. So I could see how Anthony could come back into the team as right wing back. I actually would prefer a Anthony. You convert him to right wing back, and you have Anthony and Ahmad on the right, and Dallo is just nowhere in this team. I'll keep it a stat. Dallo is third choice. I could see that working. So he's the only one that I could see that you could bring back into this. Everyone else, nah. I just don't see. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. It is what it is. Unfortunately, we're in a situation right now where we need to buy, and we can't buy fundamentally because we just have players that just don't want to leave, and to a certain extent they're probably entitled to. I'll read final comments and then, because it's over an hour, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna go, but let's just read final comments. And also check the poll. Remember, if you are new to the channel, to like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Red Devil Studio X, bottom right hand corner. Smash for notifications when we go live. Also, please join us for the watch longs, guys. Come on, don't leave me on my lonesome. Let's watch the Fulham game, which will be, when is Fulham, man? I should be more prepared. When is Fulham? Fulham versus, when is that? That is Saturday. Yes, Saturday 4:30. Is that right? Usually, Sunday 4:30. Sunday. We do know a lot of Sunday 4:30 shows, but I mean, there you go. United. So put them on Sunday. So yeah. RDS, do you think of fans saying? What do you think of fans saying Rams are being disrespected? That's a good question. So, speaking of which, I should put a poll. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do it now. Actually, while I'm live. Because I do want to do another show. Quickly on the comments. 70% try to sell, 9% reserves, 15% loan. So I think a lot of people do want to try and sell Sancho. I'm going to quickly put this poll just as I finish. What additional show do you want this channel? So basically the options are a Q&A, which was like the Red Devil Weekly Q&A, which I could bring back, which was on Friday. As long as we weren't playing football, it was Friday evenings. Usually Tom was joining me, so I'd try and get a guest, and we would basically just answer questions from you guys about anything and everything, football related, non-football related. The United Forum, which would be on a Monday or Tuesday, which is basically a kind of recap United news topics, questions, but also rival banter as well would be the plan. And then the Red Devil Live podcast, which was basically just talking about not just United, but recapping everything in the Premier League, Ligue 1, Syria, etc., almost like an open hangout type of thing. So I'm going to put the options there. in this thingy, and I will probably Serial Liga right, and then let me know what you think. What's this? Sorry. So, other leagues. Right, there we go. I put it now. Cool. Sorry about that. Right. Okay. But yeah, so yeah, that's that poll's in the chat. So let me know what you think. Because I can only commit to probably a watch along. The transfer news are here, are on. But obviously the transfer news will close basically come September, which is soon. So it will be replaced with another show. And I'm torn between the United Forum, the weekly Q&A, and possibly an open. So let me know what you think. I'll keep on putting the polls until I get enough feedback. And then if so, it'd be the day. It probably would be Friday. Friday or Monday, basically. Because Sundays and Saturdays we're either going to be playing football, and it won't make sense. Anyway, to answer Thomas' question, Artist, what do you think of fans saying Rasmus is being disrespected? Is he being disrespected? No, he's not being disrespected because Amorim is probably being told, listen, if you want to get a midfielder, right, or any additional signings, you have to sell. And the pressure is on Rasmus to find another club, even if he wants to stay. So, and the board is saying you've got to go, etc. And obviously, unlike other players, there has been talks of him and AC Milan, etc. So there is that. So I don't think because the manager hasn't gone out public, the club hasn't gone out public, all these things. So I don't think he's been disrespected as such. I think it's unfortunate. He obviously was there in the stadium. Him and the fact that him and Onana were in the stadium shows that they weren't in the team sheet, but neither were Garnacho, Sancho, or Anthony. And they're there. They're here. They're not in effervescence. They're around. But the fact that Onana and Hojlund were in the stadium means they want to be at the club. Whatever you say about Onana, he wants to be at the club. Hojlund wants to be at the club. They're just not good enough. So the thing is, because of that, when the transfer window closes, Amorim like, well, I've got to use these guys now. Okay, they're going to go. It is what it is. Okay, fine. So I think that if he doesn't, then he will just be integrated back into the team. He might not get minutes. So I think, listen, you might not get minutes because we've got Sesko now. Xerxes probably ahead of you. But who knows what's going to happen? In two games' time, a game against Fulham, Sesko gets a knee injury, God forbid, touch wood, but let's say that happens, or Xerxes or whoever, and suddenly he's in. This is the thing about football. We're in the weird position that aside from Lisandro, most of our players are fit. But I know for a fact that's not going to be the case. Now, I think it'll be better because we aren't going to have Wednesday, Thursday games. So in theory, it should be better. But you can't guarantee injuries. And on top of that, there's an AFCON as well. So like I said, Ahmad and Buemo, not Kune, Maswari, and Anna, they're all gone. So again, opportunities for players to come into to the team that way. With Ahmad and Buemo gone, you don't have your right wing back or attacking option, and you don't have your number 10. So and this is assuming that Mount isn't going to be injured, because if I'm sorry, Mount and Luke Shaw injury prone, they're going to pick up an injury. So in my mind, they're already not in the squad. So if let's say in December, those players are out. Mount is out. Luke Shaw is out. Well, who's on number 10s? Xerxes, Cunha, and Sesko is still there. Who's on the bench? You see what I mean? Who's on the bench for attacking wise? You know, Cunha, because the other guys have gone off to AFCON. Mount is injured, and Luke Shaw's probably injured. So attacking wise, you've just got Sesko, Cunha, and Xerxes. I guess Bruno can fit and play into number 10 as well. That's definitely possible. Big up everyone as well, by the way. Almost 30 people watching, guys. Like. Guys, it takes a minute. Like the vid, subscribe to the channel, bottom right corner. It's not much. It seems a lot of you from the votes so far, which is not that many. A lot of you want the United Forum to come back. So that's the majority so far. But let's get a few more votes in, guys. Let's get it to the likes, 25 likes. And let's get you guys voting on what show it is that you want to come back. So right now it's the United Forum, which would probably be on a Monday or a Tuesday to wrap things up. I would need another United fan to help me host it, though. In fact, I might ask Eddie about it. Maybe it might be me and Eddie, actually. I might ask Eddie. But we'll see. So yeah, in summary, I don't think he's being disrespected. I think it's just that the board are telling Amorim, you need to get players out, otherwise we can't get any players in. And that is it. You know, can you get other players in? No, you can't. There we are. That's where we are. And he just is struggling to be able to get those additional players in, unfortunately. Fulham nil, Manchester 2. I hope so. Lucky. I hope Fulham is on Sunday. It is. Maybe Sancho as a 10, but like you say, cover injuries and AFCON, but he needs to go. So if we do that hypothetical scenario where you got the AFCON players are out, Mount is gone because he's injured. I'm just saying it. The likelihood is that is the case. And you're left with Sesko, Cunha, Xerxes. Bruno, obviously, for me, he should be in the number 10. So you probably would play Bruno. But now the midfield looks whack. Because then you have Bruno, Cunha, and Sesko, which I think is not a bad attack. And Xerxes to come on to add. So if that works without the need to bring Sancho in from the fan. But the midfield is where it gets interesting, because then if you've got Agate, Menu, Casemiro, you're gonna have to play. You can't play Agate and Casemiro together. You can't. So you'd probably have to play Agate and Menu, which could actually work. An Agate Menu who's slightly bit more with Bruno, it could work, but Menu would still have to be a bit more defensively switched on in that role. I don't think you can play Agate and Casemiro there, so that's probably what would happen. And then, you know, Collier's gone, so but that's your midfield is kind of a bit stretched there, unless you're going to allow someone else to come into the midfield. You know, Lisandro obviously might be back, so that might sort of help us as well. I mean, that's a good point, because Lisandro did help our build up a lot. Do you play, if Lisandro comes up, does he go straight into the midfield? Because I prefer Lisandro as a centre back than I do as a left back. Oh, sorry, left-sided centre back. Sorry, I do. I'll be honest. Rob says the Friday. Oh, I literally need to round this show up in the next 5 minutes. But thanks so much for everyone tuning in. I really appreciate it. Subscribe. New bottom right hand corner. It literally costs you nothing. So please do. As we'll go on our way to 5K. Meredad Gakpo says, "Hi, hope you're doing well. Buddy. Let's get to exactly. Also, yes, what do you think of Kobe's perspective of game time? 1 game a week, and Agartha's coming on before you. I mean, Agartha. I think the issue is is that Aram kind of alluded to it in that Mainu. You don't bring on Mainu as a defensive option. You don't bring on Mainu as a defensive option at all, because he struggled to defend, is what Amram sort of said. So the way I see it, you know, you could make an argument. Well, we're 1-0 down. Why did Amram bring on Agate? Although he did bring on another attacking option, I don't know. You know, so for example, against Grimsby, I don't think we need to play Agate. You can probably play Mainu with Bruno in the midfield, and you probably will be fine. Or you can give Bruno rest, and you can play Agate and Mainu together. So the game time situation is interesting because is Amram effectively saying against teams that I want to go out and attack, Mainu starts, and against teams that then he doesn't. But then you could make a case that probably more than half the Premier League, you're going to have to be a bit more solid against Palace, even against Fulham, you know. And I can clearly see in Amram that he's taking even against the Arsenal game, it was a pragmatic approach. You started Dalot, you started Casemiro. We were pragmatic, we were defensive, but it didn't matter. We still conceded, you know. So I don't know. All I know is that it doesn't bode well for Mainu signing a new contract, new deal. That I know for certain. And it doesn't bode well for our midfield, which is why we need to get a new midfielder. This whole thing changes if we get a new midfielder. If we get a new midfielder, then it's a different story. It would also be a different story if Bruno had gone. So if Bruno had gone, we pocket 100 million. We probably buy a new midfielder, and then the midfield it just feels like it's a lot. You could alternate because Bruno has to play all the time because he's the captain. Whereas you get another midfielder, it's not the captain, it's for a reasonable fee. Well, okay, he might play, Modi might play, Garson play, etc. It becomes not, you know, it doesn't become as difficult personally. You know, part of the reason why Mainu isn't getting games is because Bruno, as the captain and as Amram's, you know, guy, has to always play. Whether you agree with that or not, I don't know. I personally do not agree with it because at times Bruno costs us, but that is the situation that we're in. That's where we are. Yep, subscribe and like if you haven't already. Yep, Arsenal so lucky. How much is Arsenal? Yeah, they were. They absolutely were lucky, aren't they? Absolutely were. Oh, if you, by the way, I'm gonna, because of people watching, I'm gonna be shameless. I'm gonna plug my socials. So if you are on watching on YouTube and Atonement, if you could highlight these, I'd appreciate that. So I've just posted my Twitch link. If you're on Twitch, we're on the road to 100 followers on Twitch. So if you're on Twitch, please follow me as well. Because what I kind of want to do is for this channel is probably it depends. Maybe do the watch alongs on Twitch, maybe do them on here. I don't know. Because YouTube is quite weird for like watch along algorithm stuff, but I probably will still do them on Twitch and YouTube. But I want to do a lot of the non-United stuff on Twitch, and then my second channel, Red Devil Studio Extra. So that is my Twitch channel. That's also on the link. I will also post my second channel, Red Devil Studio Extra. That is where I will be posting United streams, but more importantly, a lot of Manchester United streams. I'll be doing Champions League watch-alongs as well when it starts, because that's important. Even though we're not in, I like the Champions League. I like European football. I'm going to be watching the Champions League. Even if United aren't in it, it is what it is. I just don't want Liverpool to win. And then lastly, my third channel, Red Devil Multiverse. I do anime reviews, game reviews, entertainment reviews, etc. on that channel as well. Please head over and subscribe to that. That's also been posted in the link as well. It's Red Marvel X there, but it's Red Marvel Multiverse. I'll be posting actually 3 videos this week, football related, Blue Lock season 1 and 2, and my belated definite review, but certainly Blue Lock season 2 as a football fan. If you are a football fan, you've got to check out that anime as well. So stay tuned for that as well. So yeah, that's my shameless plugging aside. Please, if you haven't, support your man RDS out by subscribing to his socials and what have you. So finally, I'll just quickly check this poll actually. Yeah, mostly want the United forum back. Okay, so United forum back, and then a Q&A. Okay, fine, that's good to know. If I can somehow get Eddie to do it with me, or get like a co-host, then potentially we could do it. You know, so although again, weekly Q&A 43%. You know, and I do actually. If you want to talk about my preference, I actually prefer the Q&A because it's more relaxed, it's more chilled, less setup, having to look for news and chasing stuff. I just like to just interact with the comment section, and you just ask questions, and I just interact in that way. And it's just so that's why I like the Q&A bit like a lot more, in my personal opinion. So, but you know, the United Forum will be fine. It's just it's better when there's like other people, multiple people doing it. You know, so at least that's how I see it anyway. But yeah, I'm just gonna quickly just check because we've been live for a while. I'm probably gonna round it up soon, but before I go, I'm just gonna just check to see if I'm not missing any breaking news. Get your comments and questions in the chat. I really hope United do sign midfielder. Yeah, a lot of Newcastle fans. Newcastle fans not happy with Isak. Well, Isak, this is all about Isak. What have they said? Newcastle say we are disappointed to have been noticed as we are clear on Alex on the contract, and that no comment has ever been made by a club of that Alex can leave Newcastle this summer. We want to keep our best players, but we also understand players have their ownership. I think that's what we must always think the best in the team and our sport in order to, and we've been clear that the conditions of a sale this summer have not transpired. So, and I think this is the key. It says, you know, we have been clear that the conditions of a sale this summer have not transpired. So what were the conditions? So this is the thing, like I told you, like I think that the condition was like, yeah, we'll sell you if we can find a replacement. And it says we do not foresee those conditions being met. This is a problem. Yeah, I think the conditions were we need 100 million fee and we need a replacement. We've not got a replacement, so we can't sell you. Like it's as simple as that, really. I don't really know why. What's the big up here? But that's basically what happened. So get those likes up, please. Stand it. Honestly, club and are being told a loan or good ratio will be put on about 10 million loan fee. Aston Villa exploring deal, a Newcastle Milan move can't be Jackson to have so if Chelsea England drops south of Chelsea value Nicholas Jackson 80 million. Chelsea value Nicholas Jackson at 80 million, and yet they want to pay 25 million for Garnacho. That's why I'm like, no, Garnacho can rot in the reserves. If Chelsea can demand it's more to piss off Chelsea and for Garnacho. If Chelsea can demand 80 million for Nico Jackson, if they can sell Madueke Porto, if they can sell us Mount for 60 million and fawn off all those players, and yet demand 25, nah, screw them. Screw them. Screw them 100%. Give us 50 million or else. I don't see any other United-related news. So, oops, sorry. It's midnight. I need to go to bed. Right. Okay. Last comments. I need to go to bed. 3 likes away from 5 like button. Rob, I've just subscribed to Red. Subscribe to like so keep up the good. Thank you so much, Rob. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. And with that, Thank you guys so much for watching the stream. Remember, if you're new to the channel, share and subscribe. Bottom right hand corner. We'll be back on Sunday for the Fulham watch along, and obviously breaking news in case we get any new murmurings from United transfer news. Have a nice day, guys, and cheers. Peace out. Peace.